Good day. It is Brandon here with Short Bed Racing, and today's kind of a big day. I've been saying every day is a big day when I work on the truck, right? But a few months ago, I brought my 351 Windsor block from the 1994 Ford F250 that Conrad and I pulled out of the junkyard. Brought it to the machine shop, bow tie engines, and over the last couple months, they have been working on it. They've been getting it ready for reassembly. So I got it back, and we're going to start the process of assembling that today. So here is the block. Like I said, it's a 1994 factory roller block. The cylinders were bored 30 over, honed. Everything was done, line honed, and everything like that. And the project for right now is to go ahead and get the crank installed and torqued down, ARP bolts. So I'm gonna, the engine has been cleaned, has been washed, all that fun stuff, but I had to do a little bit of extra surface cleaning on it, and I painted it and all that fun stuff. So there's a little bit of grime in it. So I'm gonna give it a quick wipe down with some acetone, and then we're gonna get through the process of installing the crank. So check back in with you soon. All right, so I went ahead and got the block, the main caps with the original hardware disassembled. Eric, the engine builder, went ahead and assembled it back together for me after he line honed it with the ARP studs or bolts. So I got that done. I went and wiped everything down with acetone, and I'm getting the sealed power main bearings installed. I'm gonna go ahead and get those in. Make sure you're using the slotted side on the oiling side. Kind of critical. Now, this is the first time I'm building an engine, so I'm learning, watching videos, reading a lot, texting for help, basically phoning for friends type of stuff. So I'm learning, but yeah, I think this one is like one of the main critical things. Also, don't touch the inside of the bearing with your bare hands. I guess the acidic that's in your skin can actually break down the material on that bearing, which would be bad. Premature engine failing, right? The other critical thing that I actually had to do a lot of reading on, watch a lot of videos on, is that the number 3 bearing is the one that's the slightly different one that kind of has the thrust plate in it. So that is slightly different than the other bearings. And then they all have the little groove right here that kind of prevents them from spinning. So all right, I'm gonna go ahead and get these rest of these bearings installed, and then I'm gonna go grab the crank, and then we'll get that in there. So let me knock these out real quick. Got those in. I'm gonna go grab the crank. So after much deliberation and back and forth, I basically decided to stick with the original stroke on the 351, just bored over 30, so it'll be a little bit bigger than 351. I don't know what it was, like 356, 358, something like that, whatever. But for this for what I'm building for my little truck with the turbocharger on it, I think it's gonna have plenty of power. I'm not trying to build a 10-second monster. I'm limiting myself to an 1150 quarter mile. Basically, that gets me as fast as I can go without putting in a 6-point roll bar. So, and it's something that I don't want to do in this truck. That's not what it's kind of designed to do. So I feel like this is a good thing. So we went ahead and used the stock crankshaft, but just polished it and make sure that it was balanced and everything like that. But before we get the crank in there, I'm going to use some of the Permatex Ultra Slick engine assembly lube and lube up these bearings before I put that crank in there. So I'm gonna get that done, and then we'll go from there. Okay, went ahead and got the assembly lube on each of the bearings. Let's grab the crank. I just wiped it down, making sure it didn't have any like machining dust and stuff like that. It has been sitting in a bag in the garage for about a week since I picked up the engine, but when I wiped it down, just because you never know. So it's always good, right? Never can be too clean when building an engine. So I'm gonna go ahead and gently place it in. Whew, looks good. Time to get the bearings on the caps and get some assembly lube and get them on here. We'll check back in when that's done. right, caps are on. I'm gonna go and grab over here and grab a little hammer. I'm just gonna tap down on each one, make sure it's seated before I go and add the bolts to it. So let's go ahead and get that done. So like I've mentioned, I'm using ARP studs, or bolts I guess, for the caps here, and I'm going to go ahead and use the fastener assembly lube that came with the kit. We're going to go ahead and just apply some to each bolt and kind of assemble it in. These were supplied, I did supply these to the engine builder, Eric, before, so that he could line hone the crank journal with the new ARP studs. So everything is kind of designed for these to work, which is kind of the point, right? So we're gonna go ahead and knock these out, get them hand tight, and then start the torque procedure. Alright, if you are running the pickup, the oil pickup support bolt, it goes in 3. On if you're at the front of the engine, you're looking towards the rear, it'll go on to the right hand side, I think. Yes. I've had to double check that like a lot of times. It does look like I need to tap some of these down before I go ahead and start tightening up some of these caps down. From what I was kind of reading and watching, you don't want to necessarily use the bolt to pull the cap to the, basically get it flush. You kind of want to set it before you start tightening down the bolts. So I'm gonna go grab my hammer again and my hands are all slippery. I gotta assemble this, put the lube on this last bolt here, and then wipe my fingers off because they're all slippery, so I can get that done. Okay. Alright, got my hammer here. I'm going to go ahead and tap these down, make sure they're set. That looks a lot better. Make sure everything is threaded properly. I'm not going to cross thread anything. If I can consistently thread each bolt in, that means I'm looking pretty good. So go ahead and get them kind of snug now, and then go through the process of torquing. And I'm going to go from kind of the inside out both ways, kind of alternating, and we're going to go 3 torque steps. Final torque for these ARP bolts is 100 pounds. It's a lot, but it needs to be, right? So I think I'm gonna do it in sets of 3, and we're gonna start at, I believe I have my torque, my 3/8 torque thread set to 40 pounds currently. So we're gonna start with 40 and work our way up, probably 40, 75 or 70, and then up to 100. Some that I have seen do a 180 degree final torque, but the instructions for this set of ARP bolts do not call for that. So we're going to start here in the middle at 3 and work our way out. And we're going to start with 40 pounds. 1 at 40 pounds. Let's bump it up to 75. You know, it won't hurt to do 4 stages. So I'm gonna go to 65, just so then it's more evenly torqued. I feel like that jump is a lot, so. Okay. 65. Let's go up to 85. That engine stand doesn't really have a lock feature. All right, last one, 100 pounds. That is the max this little torque wrench can do. Here goes nothing. All right, I'm just gonna go ahead and just give them all once more just to make sure. And I'm going to mark them all to remind myself, in addition to this video, that everything's been torqued down. So. Step 1 of the engine assembly is done. Next up for me is we're gonna fit the rings, start sliding pistons in. So that'll be it for this time, for today. Like my neighbor says, you do one thing a day, project will be done before you know it. So this week basically has been all 5 days I've been doing something on the truck. It's moving along very fast, which is awesome. There had been, kind of some slow times as I'm waiting for parts or waiting for the machining work to be done on this engine. But my goal is Rocky Mountain Race Week 2.0 in September. That is happening. It is going to happen. The truck will be there for that. But I want to be able to test before then. There's a really awesome sounding small little weekend drag and drive event the 1st of August from Denver to Julesburg. I want to look into trying to make that. Other than that, there's some test and tunes going on both down in Pueblo and out in Julesburg. So I'm hoping to get to the track for those because I don't know what this truck's going to do. The last time I was at a drag strip was Bandimere in my daily, my 2016 F150, and it didn't go all that well for me. So I want to kind of redeem myself and see what this truck, this little 1996 F150 can do. So that's it for me for today. Got the crank installed, and next time we will be putting pistons in. So keep on wrenching. Let's go racing.